And the question is, in terms of policy, you're very good. It's from Katopita. In terms of policy, you're very good. But are you sure you're going to act for the people of Soroti? Thank you very much for that question. That's a comment from Ngabirano. I've been following up on the campaigns, and absolutely, there's no question. 2 candidates have to fight for Soroti. And I want to add my voice to the people of Soroti to congratulate them on whoever they ask. That's a question on top of the other questions that still keep coming in. And we want to assure you, lastly, I want to have this question. It's one that we cannot leave out. It's a question that speaks to accountability. When unreliable party seconds a candidate, what happens to the region? That's a question that certainly speaks to the rest of the people of Soroti, and it speaks to the rest of the candidates that are here. That's a question that, Benson, certainly, we are very sure it's a question that you will pick up from one of the people that are commenting on our Twitter handle. And it is just that. That's the debate moving on. Benson, over to you, and we want to understand what is there for these candidates in this particular city.
Thank you very much, Shamim, for those feedbacks that have been coming from people who have been watching entirely in the country, from Soroti and from eastern part of Uganda, northern, central, and the western. We're still on the debate. Soroti election is up on Thursday, and tomorrow is the last day to campaign. And with me, we have the 3 nominated candidates by the Electoral Commission. Pascal Emuria is a candidate for UPC, Rico Abbott is a candidate for NRM, and Atan Moses, candidate for the FDC. And we're back on this debate, and probably I'll get to give the 2 candidates on the questions of economic leadership 3 to 4 minutes each. And then after that, I want to ask you a question. And each of you should probably write this down. Because, Honorable Rico, they've been saying you're a project. I don't know which project you are, and you need to definitely say it. People say you're a project of the system. People say you're a project of some personalities within the Teso region. You clearly need to answer that. To the UPC candidates, they've been saying that, and I need to confirm this for clarity, were you bought? Were you offered some money to step down? This one, you're definitely going to answer that. And to candidate Moses, there have also been some allegation that you need to clarify that you received some money from the Vice President of Uganda. So definitely, just some of the questions that you'll be able to answer them. But let me get to candidate Emuria. In 4 minutes, the question of economic leadership, and I think it's a huge one. If you look at the statistic by UBOST, it puts Teso region at 22%, probably also highest in the poverty index. But the question of food now, that the crisis that we have in terms of food and the resources that we have, what do you intend to help the people of Soroti East with economic leadership, and what do you intend to help them get some money into their hands?
The question of economics is a bigger question, and I'll attempt to address it both at national level but also address it at very specific issues for Soroti City East. As earlier on I stated that there are 3 key issues that we must address at policy level, and that comes in legislation. Number 1, we must reduce the tax burden on our citizens. And again, opportunities to have tax reforms, for me, are critical as a member of parliament. And this conundrum in Soroti City East is just an eye-opener to what we will do while in parliament. Now, the issue of reducing taxes, as a party, we believe that should lower people's expenses and standard of living. But also the second thing that I've talked about, the issue of standard of living. The standard of living is so high in this country. Not only Soroti City East attempts to make sure that taxes on very basic commodities must be explored immediately. And one of the key issues that we want to address, taxation on fuel must go down. Other commodities that are having, even simple things like soap in this crisis, we must reduce the burden on the citizen. As much as they're saying that you're importing these things from whatever country, but there are some of these materials that we get locally. For example, soap, one of the key ingredients, of course, is oil. But we have oil here. Not the other oil for, not oil for Not oil for cars, but oil that is used to make soap. But also thirdly, the issue of reducing public expenditure. Our dear citizens must know of Soroti City East, as long as we have a huge budget on public expenditure, we are not any near in as far as solving our problems of economics are concerned. So reducing public expenditure, there are so many authorities, so many ministries, so many departments doing similar jobs, but having a huge workforce, which as a party for us, we believe that we had a very small cabinet that ran this country. We also had a very small workforce, and most of the people must go into work. UPC, we propagate hard work. Personally, I'm a propagandist of hard work. People must be encouraged to work hard. But also, as you see right now, there is this notion of giving money. As a party, as a political candidate, I don't give money in rallies. And this mentality of dead aid, giving money, parish model, give money, give, it never solves our problems. Because there is dead aid. Karamoja, that put a lot of money, aid, nothing done. Teso here, so many aids, so many NGOs, so many what, but the situation is not changing. So the first thing is address those three concerns at policy level. Secondly, it comes now to the very specifics that I want to talk about. 1 minute. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time, but now I'll talk about access to markets maybe alone. There are strategic roads that I want as a region that inform development for Soroti City East. For example, the road from Soroti to Emuria beam entering into Sudan and can access a market to Ethiopia. It is a strategic road. But nobody seems in the last 37 years to even think that that strategic road can be able to access Teso and Soroti City market to Ethiopia and Southern Sudan, where we have a huge market, but because of a poor road network. The other road that is strategic is a road from Soroti, Serere, into Aguara, and I have a ferry there, so that we reduce the cost of traveling from here to Kampala 6 hours. We want to reduce as much as possible the time we spend to go and do business in Kampala. If we lower it by 3 hours, it means lowering on cost of fuel, lowering on time that we lose. And these are all strategic things that we can do at policy level. The other thing I want to make sure, the meat packers here that we had in Soroti played a critical role in the economy of this city. Meat internationally is strategic for us. It's a comparative advantage. The taste of meat is the sweetest meat globally. And that meat packers is what can deliver, not oranges. The meat packers must be revived immediately, and the meat packers will attract, instead of us every Thursday in Arapai, we are selling live animals, and Kenyans are taking animals, South Sudanese are taking animals, and they are processing the meat in Kenya and earning big. What we need to do is, and this water can be, I talked about the 5 rural wards where agriculture is at its highest. We need that immediately. In Aloet, there are areas we can tap water, and this water just goes away like this. And these are issues that we can address at policy level. I don't have a personal money to give people that say that, okay, we'll give you money and then you will solve your problems. We don't use that approach. This can be addressed at oversight level, can be addressed at legislative level, and at representation level. Because I would have gone deeper into the argument of economics, because I love the subject. But for now, let me just stop there.
We definitely don't have all the time to speak into that topic. You'll definitely excuse us for that. I just want to tell our audience, if you need anything from the candidate or you want to bring anything to the candidate, please go to the technical team. When you walk in here, you're blocking our cameras from accessing your candidate. So please don't walk in front of the camera. Let me go to candidate Ariko Abbas on the question of economic leadership.
Thank you.
You can speak, it's okay.
Thank you, Benson. I appreciate the question. First of all, I would like to thank my brother Pascal Amuriat. He speaks so much like he should have been the government spokesperson, because most of the things he articulates, the NRM government is actually at it. Let me just recap some of the comments. when he talks about reduction of the MDAs, under Cabinet Resolution 18 of 2020, government resolved that it will reduce all the ministries, departments, and agencies. As we speak today, what used to be rare has been taken back to the ministry. As we speak today, there is a process of reintegrating most of these MDS back to the ministries as a way that the NRM government is trying to be proactive in order to cut on public expenditure. So I am happy that he highlights this, that we are already doing. Secondly, when he talks about the road, the strategic road of Soroti, Emuria, Abim into the South Sudan, as you know, that the NRM government has already procured a contractor. The agreements have been signed. So we are in the process of starting. Very soon, the contractor will be mobilizing and the construction work will begin. So I thank you because you speak well for the NRM. When you mention the issue of water for irrigation, under the Ministry of Agriculture, we have the small-scale as well as the large-scale irrigation schemes. I am actually surprised that my brother doesn't know that we have an irrigation. No, I would like to explain this.
You're actually answering him. You're not telling us your idea.
No, I am coming to that. You see,
because you're trying to to answer him and get what he has been able to say.
I sit here as a candidate of the NRM, and when the audience is being misled, it is my duty to speak for the party that I represent here. I guess we agree with that.
But because of time,
yes, okay, so let me summarize that we have an irrigation scheme in Soroti here at OPI. We have another one there right in Dakabela, which I championed to be brought here when I was member of parliament. So irrigation is already going on. Now, let me come into my own, but please allow me just one thing. It was said on camera, and I would like to clarify this. First and foremost, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament has never been resident of Bukoto. She has no house there. She's never stayed there. When you are a leader, it is important to be truthful, honest. It's not good to come on camera and malign very important persons in this country. Yes, she doesn't have a home in Bukoto. I know that for sure.
Say something on that in 30 seconds?
I can state for the record. We were in her residence near UNEB. And she was soliciting for votes from us, TESO parliamentary group. What I stated, Honorable Joanna Lobo, Honorable Migu, Honorable Kudo, Honorable Isodo are witnesses. We were in her residence.
Okay. I'll get back to that.
I am glad that my brother has helped us confirm on camera that he told a lie. Because UNEB is not in Bukoto. Now, I now come to my issues of economic leadership. Benson, may I now comment on the following?
Audience, please.
One, the issue of...
Just give me a minute. Audience, we are in a debate, and please let's respect a candidate if he's speaking. Let's respect a candidate if he's speaking. I am going to give time for clarification if there are things that need to be clarified. We are going to speak on evidence and facts, and these things will be clarified. So please give time, because we also don't have the whole time to stay here and debate this. Give the candidates time to respond to some of the things we have been able to ask. Candidate Rico?
May I now go and speak on issues of economic leadership? One of the very obvious things is to help the business community of Soroti access cheap credit. We have business persons here who lack credit to grow their businesses. As a government and as a member of parliament, we must work out policy framework and programs that will allow for the business people to access cheap credit so that they can be able to multiply their capital and therefore become more productive. Another thing is that as the NRM government, there is the parish development model. It's a game changer. I know that somebody will say it is peanuts. But since time immemorial, it's the first time the government is trying to get money into the households directly. That every ward, every parish will be entitled to 100 million to support savings group and microfinance associations. So I believe that it's important to note that amidst all the economic challenges, the budgetary constraints, the government is now deliberate in saying, let us not simply concentrate on infrastructure development. Let us not simply concentrate on developing other industrial bases, as well as provide for a number of huge economic interventions. Let's go down to the people. And the PDM is a project that will ensure that every household will at least be able to access credit of a minimum of 1 million per year. We also have the Emuria program. Emuria program is largely one that the government is targeting for those who want to do microeconomic activities, like things like saloon, things like skills such as shoe mending, knitting and weaving, and the like, and so on and so forth. Now, what is my role as a member of parliament? As a member of parliament, you are supposed to come and explain to the people of the development and economic programs that government has put in place. You're not supposed to politicize these things. In as far as I know, I have been informed very reliably throughout this campaign that the then member of parliament, from the time government launched the PDM, did not come around to tell them that from July they will parish development model. Remember that as parliament, we facilitated the members of parliament. Then I was working on the office of the speaker. We gave them facilitation to come and talk to the people so that they prepare to receive this very important program. The other thing, in as far as economic... Okay, let me conclude. This issue, another issue in as far as the economic leadership is concerned is the issue of accountability. I agree when Pascal says that we must resolve the issue of accountability for public resources. Whether you are in government or you are out. As a member of the NRM, I would like to see that my government is accountable, because we don't intend to leave power very soon. So it is important that we work hard to ensure that the public resources are well accounted for, and therefore we can convince the Ugandans that we can be here. Finally, in as far as the issue of economic leadership is concerned, is that as a member of parliament, I'm going to woo and attract investment in Soroti. We would like to see more people build here hotels. Soroti can be rotated into a tourism city. We have some of the historic sites here that can easily attract people here. And I would like to see that we spur economic activity here, create employment opportunities by attracting people that that will invest here.
I think your time is up. And,
thank you.
Probably let's follow time. I just want to remind our viewers who are watching, we shall be asking some of the questions that you have sent through, and the questions that Shamim has been able to read through, the feedbacks, you will be able to answer them. And I want also to thank our home tonight, Sun City Amusement Park, for hosting us, and to remind you that we're having the 3 nominated candidates for the race of Soroti East. And we're having this debate in 40 minutes. We shall come to an end. But I want to go to candidate Moses. Some of the allegations that have been put, that the PDM, Parliament gave you time to come and talk to your constituents. Did you? He said you didn't.
It is amazing that my brother, who celebrated receiving a court judgment from Court of Appeal, forgot that from 24th May, I ceased to be a member of Parliament. And the allegation that members of Parliament were facilitated was after I had left Parliament. I had no business to do with the parish development model and why you would facilitate members of Parliament. Let me put this in context. A member of Parliament passes a policy. The legislative duty of a member of Parliament. The executive has the mandate to execute and implement what Parliament has approved and appropriated resources for. This challenge and the burden of putting members of Parliament, if I was still a member of Parliament, you would say I failed on my mandate. My mandate is not in being the part of the executive, because I know that the executive is fully facilitated by the taxpayers of this country. Representation is me to carry the challenge and the pain and plights of the people and take it to the national level. Get solutions, and legislation is to pass laws and policies that the executive must implement. And appropriation, we appropriate resources to the executive to do what we have passed in the laws or policies. I come to do oversight, not to promote government programs or be the drama or the man speaking for government programs. We pay people. In the executive arm of government, we have the town clerk, we have the commercial officers, we have all personnel to do that work. If Parliament is to sit on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and a turn is supposed to represent people in the legislative assembly, and you're asking him to come and do work of a commercial officer, when will the commercial officer do his work?
Okay. Thank you, candidate Moses. And definitely I'm going to ask you these questions, and I'll give you 2 minutes to respond to them. And again, I'll definitely come to that round of question. For our audience, please, let's be respectful, and some yellings are not good. If you know you're a supporter from one side, please allow each candidate to give their view. You'll have your time to yell after the show and probably allow this gentleman to speak. Let me come to candidate Arico. They say you're a project. Are you a project?
Since, Benson, I like that question, but I want to put it back to you. Since when did a human being become a project? Anyway, just to elaborate on it, I have been in leadership all through secondary school, university. I led, even in the public service. I was always an integral part of all the institutions that I worked in, including Parliament. I was member of Parliament for 5 years. When I was not declared member of Parliament, I was appointed by His Excellency the President as Executive Secretary to the then Deputy Speaker and later Speaker of Parliament. That means that I have an impeccable record of leadership. I do not have to become a project of somebody. I have a leadership paradigm that I'm pursuing. And my paradigm is hinged on the philosophy of servant leadership. That is something that we are pursuing.
This has been sounding, and the reason why I wanted you to clarify. People say you're a project of the Speaker of Parliament. People say you're a project, you just recently joined the NRM. You didn't go through the primaries, did you?
Now, you cannot, first and foremost, let me comment on the basis of the NRM. You cannot be a coach of another team and also want to dictate to the other team which player to field. When you are in the market of competition, everybody wants to source the most talented player so as to win a tournament. The NRM looked at the talents, the skills and charisma, which the then party did not see in me. And the NRM says, we shall nurture this, grow it. And they quickly realized that the game changer in this contest will be Arico. So that is why I'm here, because the NRM needs to win. You know that political space is contested for, it's not donated. So let me just complete your comment. Now, when you say that you are the project of the Speaker is the member of Parliament for Kumi district. For heaven's sake, for Bukedia district. For heaven's sake, this is Soroti district or Soroti city as such. There is a difference between the two. She cannot represent two places. I have represented this place before as a municipality. I seek to represent Soroti city is in my own right as a leader with aspirations.
Okay. I just wanted you to clarify that because it has been waving. That's your project, and you have clarified it.
Yeah.
So let's leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me go to candidate Emuria. Were you offered money?
Benson, first of all, I'm a clear-headed young man. I shouldn't have got nominated. But I made it to I made it to the Electoral Commission and got nominated.
What happened?
There were so many challenges that I faced. I think there was a plan to deny UPC to field their candidate. But we overcame those challenges painfully. Secondly, there were so many line of candidates. There should have been about 10 people here. All of them decided to back off. I never back off. When I go for something, my friends know, I go for it. And you see, because we are not well-resourced, it is being construed to mean that we are being bought. No. We are in this race not just to participate, but we are in this race to win. And this could take Soroti City East by surprise. And you see, why I'm answering this way, to reassure our supporters, I have received numerous calls. I can tell you numerous calls.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked is the concerns that you receive.
No, I've never received any money. I've never met anybody. The kind of support
the calls came from who?
What I can tell you that a number of government officials have been calling, including from a high level. I don't want to name them here, not to be quoted. But the issue is, I have never received not even a coin. We are doing this campaign through struggle and sacrifice. It is not just an easy campaign. Our colleagues from the UPC know, by the time we came back from this rally, we were going into smaller rallies because we can't afford the bigger ones. And it doesn't mean that we are not in the race. But also, I think because of the propaganda of the NRM, because we rejected their offers, and so now they are saying that you have been bought. No, we have not been bought. I am in this race, and anybody can win this race. Nothing is, unless it has been predetermined. But also, even if it has been predetermined, we have a God that we serve. Okay. And I can assure you God can do anything in this race.
All right. Thank you, candidate Pascal Amuriat. I want to go to candidate Atan Moses. Your relations with the Vice President, some people say that you are offered 200 million. Is it true?
Not true, and I have never gotten money from outside my party of FDC.
Okay. In one minute, I'm going to give you this chance to answer this question. The question are the fears that people have, and I think maybe you share thoughts. Do you fear that there could be vote rigging in this election?
We don't fear, because I won the last election. I protected my votes, and I'm having 63 polling stations. We have sufficient manpower to protect. And we are aware of the attempts to want to rig, but we don't fear. We will deal with it on that day. And we are going to deal with whoever thinks you're going to vote using a voter allocation slip of a different person. You come there. We know the signs that they are going to use to the presiding officers. We have already prepared. And I am very confident that we are not scared of rigging. In the team I came with is the Lord Mayor Kampala. You know his expertise in protecting the vote. I thank you.
Thank you, candidate Moses. Let me get to candidate Emuria. Do you have any fear?
Like Honorable Atan has stated clearly, this is a city. To rig elections in Soroti City is next to impossible. But also, moderator, allow us, the NRMs are getting unruly in this audience, and would like them to tone down a little bit. But also, okay, let me back to the question. We have whatever it takes to be able to protect our vote. We have what we have. First of all, we have received the registers. We have the voters register for the 13 wards. We have the parking list. We know who is a voter and where. And that means that we can deploy whatever we can to be able to protect the vote, because we know who votes where. So we are not afraid that there will be voter rigging. You know, it can be easy to rig in a village constituency, but this is a city. Okay. What happened in Arua, you know. What happened in Jinja, you know. So whoever will win this race will win this race genuinely. And so I don't expect that. Okay. I don't expect that there will be rigging.
Okay.
But unfortunately, our only cry is in case there is interference by the security agencies. We ask the Electoral Commission to make sure that the security agencies that are mandated only to support the processes is Uganda Police Force.
Thank you.
We don't want any other.
Thank you,
any other
candidate Pascal. Let me go to candidate Rico. The question of vote protection. Do you think you're going to be rigged? And there's a question earlier when we were interviewing the president of the FDC that you're already doing your rigging from Gulu. I don't know whether that allegation is true. That you're already doing rigging from Gulu. You're actually predicting the from Gulu. I just need you to clarify on that. Do you have any fear as well?
That is ridiculous. Anyway, I am happy that my friends are mentioning it on record, that they have no fear, they won't be vote rigging. That makes me relieved, because I'm going to beat them resoundly. So the excuse to say they rigged shouldn't come on Friday.
Thank you.
Now, two, you made a comment that rigging is happening in Gulu. I do not know.
It's an allegation. I just wanted to clarify.
What does that mean? An allegation that there is vote rigging by who?
By your party.
By my party. Why should they go to the Electoral Commission? The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda envisages that all elections in the country shall be conducted in accordance with the law. That is the Parliamentary Elections Act and the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. The same law goes ahead to prescribe that all constituencies for which a member of parliament is going to be elected shall be those. I would like to continue so that I can answer the question. Now, as we speak now, the Electoral Commission conducted an election where a Loyalty ward and OPI ward were not. I was a member of parliament. The city that was created, the gazette that was published on the 13th of November 2020 by the Minister of Local Government, did have a constituency called Soroti City East Division, inclusive of Aloet and OPI. My question is, was there a validly conducted election without the two wards? The question is no. Now, the maxim in law is that once an illegality has been brought to the attention of court, it's illegality. He benefited from the illegality. Therefore, he who eats from the fruits of a bitter tree must certainly pay. That is the consequence he paid. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Moses?
Yes.
Candidate Moses? I just beg the audience. We have only 10 minutes.
I had the question.
Some bit of respect, kindly. I just ask you for some bit of respect as we end this debate. It's really embarrassing that we're having this debate. The entire country is watching, and some of us are not really respecting the people who are watching. It's just 10 minutes. Candidate Moses, you wanted to respond?
Yes, he has not answered my question. Did I rig him in the last election?
Okay, Candidate Africa, I'm not going to give you the mic to answer that because I think there's a court decision. Yes, there's a court ruling. And I think we will not go to the deeper context of the...
Blackmail me in the public is wrong.
It's okay. I think we have 10 minutes to the end of the time, and I'm going to give Emuria 1 minute, Moses 1 minute, and Herbert 1 minute for your closing statements. Let me start with you, Emuria.
Thank you so much, our dear viewers, especially across the country, but those that are specifically to Soroti City East. As you have noticed that my two colleagues and their supporters can... And if any past will have a bloodshed in this Soroti City East. And I urge our dear voters, you need to take this seriously. UPC comes in peace. We come to seek an opportunity to calm down this city.